Leona Graham Podcast.
Brought to you with Honda Motorcycles.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Leona Graham Podcast, sponsored by Honda Motorcycles. Ride it, buy it, win it. Test ride and purchase one of these models to be in with a chance of winning. A CB500F, a CBR 500R, a CB650R, a CBR 650R or an NX500. You can win the price of your bike back. Find out more, visit honda.co.uk/motorcycles. The competition runs until the end of December and terms and conditions apply. Now, on this episode, I'm joined by special guest, the legend that is Brian May. Yes, the Brian May from Queen. And keep listening to find out why Brian would never want to be Roger Taylor. And to hear an exclusive about some new Queen music that might be coming our way soon. Very exciting. Plus, I'll be discovering how goats have been helping Anna Geary's digestive system. And you can win 2 tickets to see the Almighty live in Cambridge at the end of November. Well, here we are in mid-November and it feels like everybody has already gone Christmas mad. And how are you with regards to Christmas shopping? Emily's aunt, Emily is our podcast producer, her aunt has done all of her Christmas shopping already, has it done every year by the end of September. But then she's got that kind of smug view looking at us as we all rush around in November and December. And she can sit back and enjoy it. So I kind of envy that in a way. I tend to do most of mine from the comfort of the studio armchair. Yes, I shop online during the songs, during my show. Are there any traditions that you do as well? Like in terms of Advent and the build-up? I cannot stand Elf on the Shelf. I just feel like Instagram has taken over parenting. That's far too much effort. Although I did end up doing something a few years ago, which I've now had to do because it's tradition. A few years ago, I was being a bit holier than thou and saying, no, we're not just going to give them chocolate every day for 24 days. Let's give them something more interesting. So I did this thing where they had a clue, which I wrote in poetry, and they had to go and find the prize in the house. And of course, this now means that every night in December, I'm like, oh, why did I start this? As I'm trying to think of a clue and a prize. I'm hoping they grow out of it soon. Now, here's a great present if you're a fan of either Black Sabbath or Aston Villa, because Aston Villa have launched Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath shirts and boots. They happen to be my team as well. I was born in Birmingham. My dad was a Birmingham City supporter, but I chose Aston Villa because of the team colours, black and purple. And Ozzy agrees. He said, and I quote, "My absolute favourite colours in the world have always been purple and black, and they are the Black Sabbath colours as well, and have been for over 50 years. Up the Villa," says Ozzy. Now, talking of football, Brian May is a fan of Fulham Football Club, who I was lucky enough to speak to this week. And what a lovely man he is, and a great sport. Stay tuned for a little bonus at the end of our chat, which I still can't believe I got him to do.
A-side.
Hi, Brian, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Leona. Always good to see you.
It's great to have you on the podcast, and got a few questions for you today. How did you first get into music and playing guitar?
Well, I was fortunate enough to be born at the time when rock and roll was being born. So we started our young lives listening to Uncle Mac on children's favourites, playing The Laughing Policeman and Three Billy Goats Gruff and stuff like that. And then suddenly along comes little Richard screaming his head off and Buddy Holly doing incredible things with that incredible guitar twang sound. And we were all just blown away. We thought, this is us, this is our music. I was that kid listening to Radio Luxembourg on a little pair of earphones, which my dad had got government surplus from German submarine or something. And we had a little crystal set which we made together. And I used to listen every night under the covers to what was coming out of America. And it eventually managed to get into British radio, but it took a while. There it was. It was there, and it was like the voice of our generation somehow, irresistible.
And who inspires you musically back when you started?
I think most of all, Buddy Holly and the Crickets. I was just blown away. I still am. I still get chills up the spine when I hear like Maybe Baby. It was so breathtakingly new, but also had this haunting beauty with those harmonies. And I've done my own versions of some of those songs, but they're always there inside me. Buddy Holly had a very short career. He had like 2.5 years of being a rock star, but the melodies he delivered during that time and the whole vibe of this rock music was, to me, immortal. And it's definitely still part of what I do.
Yeah, you mentioned melodies there, and of course they were new then. Is it harder to do melodies now? Because every melody must exist.
It's funny you say that. I find myself thinking that more and more. I thought it's just my age, Leona, but you're a young person. So I don't know. I went to see the last dinner party.
Yes, I heard about that, and you thought they were great.
Yeah, and I can see where some of this stuff comes from. And Emily, their guitar player, was kind enough to say that she was very influenced by me. And you can see influences, but it's very unusual. It's different and dangerous. And I like that. You can hear these riffs coming out, but they don't go where you think they're going to go. It's not stock, it's not standard. So I was really impressed. Yeah, I love people like that.
You've got a brand new version of Queen One out, and in your words, it's a rebuild, not a remaster. Tell us about it and why you're releasing it.
Yeah, Queen One, the actual sound of it, we never liked. We were forced into this position where we got very dry drums, recorded in a small room with pillows in the bass drum and tapes all over the drum skins. And it wasn't even Roger's kit, which he was comfortable on. So Roger's there hitting these things which don't even sound like drums to him. And in the middle of all that, we're also recording guitars very dry and kind of multi-tracking in unison a lot, making things very stiff, doing loads of takes, like take 29, let's keep doing it, boys, until you get it right. Contrary to the spirit, we were all about spontaneity and energy and about liveness in a room, the big ambient sounds, and none of that we got on the first album.
So, what do you mean by a dry sound exactly then?
Depending on where you put the microphone or where you put your ear, you get a very different effect. It's if you're very close up, it's dry and small and tight, short sound. If you put the mic a long way away, like the other side of the room, a lot of the sound that you'll pick up is ambience, the sound that's kicking around the room.
And that's what you wanted. You wanted some
That's what we
ambience.
wanted. Yeah, we wanted
Oh,
to,
okay.
because if you're in a room with a drummer and he hits it, you're kind of enveloped by that sound. That's what we wanted. We wanted to be something you feel in your body. So we couldn't achieve that at the time. Now we've been able to use every hit, every note, every vocal and whatever exactly as it was, but added the kind of ambience that we would have wanted at the time.
Because it went back in the charts last week, I noticed.
Yeah,
And the greatest hits popped up again. I mean, that's in and out the charts all the time, isn't it?
it's amazing. Yeah, well, I think this is the first time the first Queen album has been in the top 10
Oh,
ever. I don't think it was originally. No, I think it got to 20 something. No, it was hard for us in the early days. We didn't get an instant number one or anything. So this is, I think, the first time we got a top 10 album with Queen. We retitled it Queen One because we didn't know at the time that there was going to be any more Queen albums. So we just called it Queen. And of course, the year following that, we made an album called Queen 2. So it now makes sense for this to
yeah.
be Queen One.
And here we are in 2024, and Queen, as I mentioned, still in and out the charts all the time. What is it about Queen's music that makes it last so well and relate to new audiences today?
Leona, you'll have to tell me. I really don't know. As songwriters, we write as everyman. We don't write as rock stars. We very seldom have talked about sort of being in the rock world like most people do in rock lyrics. It's not really about it. Normally our songs are about things which everybody feels, and I think that has an effect. We all have hopes and dreams. We all want to break free. We all want it all at once. There was a very definite point where we decided that the audience were as important as we were in the stage show, and this is why we wrote "We'll Rock You," "We're the Champions," and everything that followed, really, because we realized that it was cool to let people actually get rid of their inhibitions and not just nod their heads, but actually sing with you, stamp with you, clap with you, jump about with you. That became the Queen thing. We encouraged the audience to be with us and to perform with us.
And there's talk of some new Queen music.
I think Roger and I both put stuff down from time to time. We do. And sometimes we get together and go, what you got? So that kind of stuff happens. And maybe there will be a point where we actually make the decision to do it. It's an odd feeling. There's a feeling of almost rebirth happening because we have exchanged all our future earnings from the past for a lump sum. That's what this, selling out to Sony is actually doing. But what it means is they own the copyrights in all the past, but we will own the copyrights in the future. So that in a way, that's a kind of invitation to create something. And I think we may be able to rise to that challenge in some way.
B-side.
Do you remember when Freddie actually decided he wanted to be called Freddie Mercury?
Well, there had been clues because in My Fairy King, he talks about Mother Mercury, what have you done to me? And he started wanting to wear kind kind of wings on his trouser legs, like he's got
As you do.
yeah, being the Mercury, the mercurial bringer of mail, I guess. But there came a point where he didn't want to be called Bulsara anymore. But there he was, and suddenly he said to us, I've decided I want to be called Mercury now. I'm going to be Freddie Mercury. So we went, oh, okay. And I think in his mind, it was a big deal. And I think it helped form him into the vision of himself, which he'd had from being a kid. He wanted to be the great god Mercury. He wanted to be something out of this world, and he achieved it.
Yeah. I mean, was it immediately obvious that he was special
Yeah, it
in a
was
word?
special. Yeah, he was very noticeable. He always behaved like he was a star, not in a sort of big-headed way, but he just assumed that he was a star, and he would dress very elegantly as much as he could because he was penniless, and he behaved like he was Robert Plant, even though we were all unknown, penniless would-be musicians.
When you heard him singing, did you think this is going to be an incredible band?
No, not really. We thought he had great presence, great persona, and a wonderful belief and vision, but we weren't sure that he could sing. Let's put it that way, because he was overdoing everything at the time. He didn't have any feedback. He was just doing what came out naturally. So when he went on the stage, he would run around a lot like a whirling dervish. And you would sing really out of control. And we really weren't sure if it was ever going to work. It wasn't until we came into the studio for the first time and he started to hear himself coming back out of the speakers that it all changed very rapidly. I remember him sitting there after we'd done a take and he got a demo vocal on it. And his face was grim. He said, I don't like it. I don't like how I sound. That's not good enough. I'm going to have to do it again. I want to go back. And he went back multiple times.
Now, I did read that you were keen on using toy instruments like plastic pianos. Why was that?
Well, there was this feeling like we wanted to use everything because some of the people we worked with when we were first allowed into a studio had these very rigid ideas. A piano has to be mic'd up this way, the guitar has to be recorded in that way, the drums have to be covered in tape, all that sort of stuff. And we said, no, we want all the sounds around us to be ours. We want to bring anything in we want. So, yes, toys, things that you can hit, things that you can blow into, um, microphones hidden in cushions, all sorts of things which are in our daily life. And I recorded a thunderstorm. I mean, so many things which found their way onto Queen records. And I think it makes them more human, makes them breathe.
And of course, you are still involved in new music because you're on a new single with Talia Dean.
Yep.
So, how did you meet Talia and tell us how it all began?
I met her when she was a greeter for VIPs at the airport at Heathrow. And she's carrying my bags and sorting us out and getting us from the plane to the car or whatever. And she goes, no, I'm a singer. I'm not really doing this. I only do this now and again. I'm really a singer. I write songs. I'm going, yeah, of course you do. Whatever. She sent me some stuff and I thought, oh, yeah, wow, she's got something. So what tends to happen is, I'm going to be very honest here. I'm generally busy doing stuff. I go, Nat, look, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I can't produce this next song of yours. So she goes, okay, fine. And she goes off and does it with someone else. And then I hear it and I go, oh, no, okay, let me produce it. Because I can always hear things in my head that I want to put in it. She has that effect on me. So I can never actually say no in the end.
So if somebody wants Brian May to produce their work, you just need to make sure you hear it and you won't be able to resist.
Bonus tracks.
First record you bought?
Well, I'm going to cheat because my dad actually bought it for me, but it was Lonnie Donegan, Rock Island Line, which is all about bringing stuff, contraband, across a customs route.
First gig you went to?
First gig I went to was at the seaside with my mum and dad on holiday, and it was the Hollies. And it was amazing. I'd never heard a highly amplified guitar before, and Tony Hicks was playing his guitar, and it sounded like nothing I'd ever heard in my life. So different from the way guitar sounds on a record. And I wanted that sound. I wanted to make that searing, biting sound that he made.
If you had to go back to the start and swap instruments, say, with one of your band members in Queen, what would you play instead of the guitar and why?
I wouldn't play drums.
Too much hard work.
Yeah, I can do that. Well, I suppose because melody is everything to me, melodies and chords and everything. Drums, I would feel frustrated, I think. Kind of like playing bass. I've done a lot of playing bass, and when I produce my own stuff, I very often like to play bass. my engineer Justin goes, "Oh, go on, get a bass player," and I go, "No, I like playing bass."
One man show, play every instrument.
Well, I don't know what else there is. I mean, I do play some keys. I was brought up playing the piano, which is really useful for me. But if you want the honest truth, I wouldn't swap with anyone. I
Yes.
just love the guitar. I love it. I love the sounds it can make. I love the sounds that it hasn't even dared to make yet. It's always new and exciting for me, the guitar. Love it.
What's the best guitar solo ever written, in your opinion?
Maybe A Key to Love, Eric Clapton,
Oh, interesting
On
choice.
John Mayall blues album.
Wembley Stadium or Madison Square Garden?
Very difficult. Not the new Wembley Stadium. I don't like the sound. I think that's one of the most difficult places to get a good sound in the world. The old Wembley Stadium was pretty damn good, and we played it and loved it. Madison Square Garden, though, has a mystery, an energy which comes out of nowhere, and I think it has to be one of the most highly charged places you could ever play.
Favourite album by Queen?
Ooh, probably Made in Heaven, the very last one that we made once Freddie had gone. It's got a lot of Freddie in it. It's got a lot of grown-up thoughts and ideas and sensitivity, and it does rock. And we made sure that Freddie's spirit was in it very good and strong. And I think our art is at its best, strangely enough, yeah.
Okay, it's time for the dramatic reading. Brian, I'd love it if you could use your creative genius and give us a dramatic reading of some of your lyrics. Imagine that you are giving a science lecture and the basis of the talk is "We will rock you," okay?
Okay. Buddy, you're a boy. Make a big noise. Playing in the street. You want to be a big man someday? You got mud on your face. Big disgrace. Kicking your can all over the place. We will rock you. We will rock you.
That was absolutely brilliant at the end there, Brian. I really feel like I've just discovered the secrets of the universe or something. What a fantastic reading. Brian, thank you so much for joining us on the
Thank you,
podcast.
Leona.
Lovely to have you as a guest.
Thank you, Leona. Love speaking with you. See you soon.
The Leona Graham Podcast.
Brought to you with Honda Motorcycles. Ride it, buy it, win it.
Competition time, and this episode's prize is tickets to see The Almighty live in Cambridge at the Corn Exchange on Thursday the 28th of November. Now here's the question, multiple choice of course. The Almighty formed in 1988 in Glasgow, but which of these bands were also from Glasgow? Is it A, Biffy Clyro, B, the Bay City Rollers, or C, Primal Scream? Entries will close on Thursday the 14th of November at 11 p.m. Contact me with your answer on my socials at Leona Graham DJ. Include your email address, and the winner will be contacted by Friday the 15th of November at 4 p.m. Now, Anna Geary, who's a journalist, and my friend and colleague, was back with me again this week, and it was her birthday. Now, I trekked high and low for a great birthday card for her, but did I nail it? Let's find out. Happy birthday, Anna.
Thank you very much.
How have you been celebrating?
Well, I had a cake this morning, but let me show what card you gave me, because this is very
This is
good.
top quality card. 34.
34.
Yeah, I trekked high and low to get a 34 card. They don't really make them very many places.
With a makeshift 3 out of Tipex. I mean, it is funny because when we did the cake earlier, they just put a picture of all the candles. They said they couldn't get 34 candles.
Yeah, that's actually a card for a 4-year-old, which I cleverly adapted. You didn't notice at first. I had to point it out. You said, "Oh, you've got a 34." And I felt bad. I thought, I'm going to have to tell you the truth. Yes, that's
I love that it's for a 4-year-old because it's perfect for me.
That's what I
which
thought.
says a lot about my maturity levels.
I thought this is perfect for Anna. Just needs slightly adapting. What else has been going on in the world, Anna?
I've got a really good story for you today.
Okay.
Right. Deliveroo have announced the top trending food deliveries of this year. So we've got chicken wings, Caesar salads, and Waitrose cucumbers.
Hold on a minute. Who would order Caesar salad? What's a takeaway?
I know.
What was the third one?
And the third one was Waitrose cucumbers
People order cucumbers on Deliveroo.
from Waitrose.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought Deliveroo was like, ready takeaway meal.
Oh, yeah, but they do deliveries from grocery stores. They even,
Oh.
I think they even do boots as well. Like
What,
you can get
as in
medicine.
shoes?
More-
Okay, right. Boots the chemist.
Boots the chemist. You can get your beauty products, or I'm pretty sure that they do that. I don't think I've dreamt that.
And what was the top one again? Chicken wings.
Chicken wings. So
Okay.
8 boneless wings from Wingstop was the most popular dish.
I don't know what planet I'm on. I've not even heard of Wingstop.
Neither had I. I had
Oh,
to
okay.
Google it as well.
Okay.
But the reason I bring this to you is because, you know, you got a place in Brighton.
Yeah.
It says Brighton residents ordered more oat milk and dairy alternatives than any other city.
That's just Brighton all over, that is. It is the most alternative place in the country
I
in
do
every
love it.
aspect.
Oh, 100%. But it just made me laugh and it made me think of you because I just think about your place.
I'm not an oat milk kind of person, though.
Are you not?
No, I'm happy with cow's milk.
I like cow's milk too. But don't you find it weird when you order your milk? You know, when you go and order, now I feel like they say, what milk do you want? Do you want? And I feel weird saying cow's milk. I still say normal milk.
I say normal milk. I also don't understand how you can get milk out of an oat or a soya bean. It's not really milk, is it?
I tell you what, my dad started drinking that kefir. Have you ever tried it?
Is that like a yoghurt?
It's like goat's milk.
Oh,
Honestly, it's gross.
that's taking it to a new level.
Oh, it's so disgusting. But he swears by it. He thinks it's doing, good things for his gut.
Well, there are lots of good things to be said by this, but I don't understand about the milks like oat milk. Is that not processed in some way, like to make it?
To get it out of the oats.
We need an expert.
We do need an expert.
Obviously naive about this.
That's it. Thanks again to my special guest, Brian May, who, don't forget, is on a brand new single with Talia Dean called You Made Your Bed, that is out now. This has been the Leona Graham podcast with me, Leona Graham, produced by Emily Moulton, brought to you by Whitney Wildone, and of course, our friends at Honda Motorcycles. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.
The Leona Graham Podcast.
Brought to you with Honda Motorcycles.